Hi everyone and welcome to the first episode of GSoC Insiders. This series is for those who are already familiar with what GSoC is and how it works, but cannot figure out where to begin from. So in here we'll call students from previous GSoC programs and talk to them about their organization, their project, take a look at their proposal, see how we can set up their project in our local machine, and then eventually learn how we can start contributing to the organization. So without any further ado, let's begin with it. So our guest for today's episode is Sai Karthike. Sai worked for the organization 52 Degrees North in GSoC 2021 on their Android project called Envirocar, where his main goal was fixing bugs and improving the user experience of the application. So Sai, can you please walk us through what your project exactly was?
Yeah, hello Ajay. Thank you for having me here. My name is Sai Karthik and I have worked with Envirocar. So Envirocar is an Android app where you can collect the data of a journey through OBD and GPS. So this data is then sent to the server where this data is interpreted and several key informations such as CO2 emission, fuel consumption, etc. are analyzed and given back to the user. So by this data, you can understand the environmental effect of your journey.
So we have to prove to the mentors that we are familiar with the project code base, right? By solving some issues.
Yeah. So yes, it's correct. Like if we have to be sure that we prove ourselves to the mentors that we are able to solve the issues. That's very key point because that's what decides the whether we are eligible or not.
Yeah, so what kind of issues are we talking about here? Like major bug fixes or some minor bug fixes will do?
There are two important aspects in contributions. One is it should be in line with the organization needs, and the second one it should add value to the repository. So if your contribution satisfies these two aspects, then it is considered to be a good contribution. So you should understand the organization needs and contribute towards it, whether it be a small or big project contribution. It should be in line with the organization needs and mentors' interest.
Right, right. So can we also see some of the issues that you solved before GSoC began?
So I have solved a few issues while contributing. So I'll just go through those issues. So here is the first pull request that I have solved, and this is a small one. You can see the number of lines of addition are 8, and but as I previously mentioned, the size of the pull request does not matter. The the mentors generally look for is that whether this pull request add value to the project. So if your pull request satisfies that condition and if it is in line with the goals, then it is sufficient. Like it does not need to add a big feature. So in this first pull request, like I have added navigation. So if we click on the statistics, then it moves on to the another activity. So this is the first pull request that I have raised in this GitHub repo. And this is one more enhancement that I have done. So previously, even though the car is selected, the select option is shown. So I have made an enhancement that if the radio button is turned on, then there is no delete car option. There is only delete car option. The select car option is not there. So the dialog menu is shown according to the state of the radio button. So yeah, this is another enhancement. So and the third one was like the radio buttons. The app is not getting updated simultaneously with the changes that are made in the phone locally. So I have raised a pull request solving this, and as you can see the changes are made simultaneously instead of it not getting updated. So yeah, this is the another enhancement that I have done before GSoC. So as you can see, all these pull requests add value to the project and make the app look and feel good. So you should try to contribute the issues like this which add value to the project.
Yeah, so you mentioned our initial contribution should match with the organization's goals, right? So where can I find these goals of 52 degrees north?
So yeah, you can go through their mailing list. Like every organization has a mailing list, and you can go through that and you can scroll up and see what mentors shared in the past 1 to 2 months. And you can also contact mentors personally and try to seek their opinion on the ideas that are present in GitHub. Or else sometimes the previous year GSoC work is being carried out to the next GSoCs. So it is beneficial to have a look on the previous GSoCers work. So you can just spend time around 1 to 2 months. It is advised to spend that time with the organization to understand the goals and needs of the organization well.
Yeah, so is there any website where I can find the projects that 52° North is currently working on?
So every time you'll be having this project ideas list. So there, if you go down, you'll be getting the mailing list IDs. Every organization has these kind of websites which they put on before every year GSoC. So you can see here, this was updated on January 18th and it has the mailing list. So you can go onto the mailing list and mail to the mentors, and mentors or any previous GSoCers will generally respond to these issues. And you can read about the what are the goals of this year here. And you can also, if you have any special ideas which are not mentioned in this page, you can directly contact mentors. Here are the emails that they mentioned which you can go through. So by this way you can contact mentors and look and seek for their ideas. By this way you can contact to the mentors and know their ideas and interests. So if you spend a fair bit of time, generally at least for 1 month, then you will be able to understand the needs of the organization. And if you see the this year project idea, the improving data or view binding, this was actually a part of GSoC 2021, and which has been carried out for the next year. So sometimes the previous work also comes out to the next GSoC. So you can keep an eye on these kind of issues also. Apart from this mailing list and contacting mentors directly, you can also see the GitHub issues section. Sometimes GitHub issues section will have issues have tags. By these tags, you can understand the priority of the issues. Like generally, the medium priorities and the high priority issues go for the next year GSoC. So sometimes there is also a GSoC label. By this GSoC label, you can understand that mentors have an interest to solve this as a part of GSoC. So try to spend some time with GitHub issues section and in mailing list. That makes you comfortable in understanding the Git organization goals.
All right, cool. So let's say I want to start working on one of their projects. So how do I approach the mentors or the community to get my doubts cleared?
So before asking mentors, like you should do your groundwork. Like you have to go through the GitHub issues section, pick an issue, and try to solve it on your own. So generally, mentors expect you to do so because you should you should try to solve something, and if you're stuck anywhere, they are ready to help. But you should not be asking like, I want to work on this issue or something like that. And be precise with what are you expecting from mentors, because mentors also have their personal job which they have to do, and later they'll be coming to the open source thing. So you should understand their time is valuable, and mail accordingly, and try to do not mail them repetitively.
Yeah. So basically, we have to do our homework, ask precise questions, and not send a lot of mails at once, right? Yeah, cool. So can we now take a look at the proposal that got you selected in GSoC 2021?
So proposal is a key part in selection process. So if you have good contributions also, the proposal is the one which is the deciding factor. So in proposal you have to mention what you would like to work in a much detailed and elaborated way. You should write all the possible information and how you would like to approach the problem as detailedly as possible. So I'll just take you over through my proposal. So this is my proposal. So the first section involves in mentioning the personal details. So you can mention your name, and for mails and for video calls and all the kind of stuff, and the time zone is also important because generally mentors are not from the same time zone. So you have to mention all this kind of personal information and about me, and I have wrote a detailed explanation mentioning why I am interested in this project. So this is really important that mentors feel this, that you are aware of this stuff. So the next section is your project ideas. So you have to elaborately explain like what you would like to do if you are selected. If they take you, how do you approach, and what all the things you would like to do. So my GSoC work primarily involves in three aspects. So first one is updating libraries. So all the old libraries which are being used in the app, I plan to update into the latest version. So you can see that I have written the current version that is being used in the app, and the latest versions, and the release notes. So these release notes take you to the documentation. So here, so this helps mentors to understand what are the new changes that are brought in each release. So it should be as detailed as possible. And this is the second idea. So all the ideas that you get during the proposal time, you can mention it to the mentors, and whether it will be possible to implement this or not, that comes the later part. But you have to express your interest and your ideas completely. So this was the second part of my proposal, where I would like to change the library from which butter knife, which is currently used, to view binding. And I have mentioned the advantages of preferring view binding over butter knife. So the number of lines of code would decrease, and null safety and type safety would increase. So the next part and the major part of my GSoC work comes here, which is bug fixing. So I have gathered all the issues, and these are the activities that these are the sections that app consists mostly. So I have written down what are the goals that I would like to accomplish in each of the particular area of the app, and I have tagged few issues at that time. So, and I have mentioned like I'll be adding more issues to the GitHub section to justify my work, and it is like it is very tedious process to add each issues here. So I redirected them to the GitHub issues section, and here are the bugs. And later on I have summarized the whole work here. It's like if you see the first Bluetooth bugs and handling user when is offline. So these are the solutions that I would like to give for each kind of issues. So you have to be precise with even the solution, what kind of implementation you would like to give, and why do you prefer that implementation over another implementation. So you have to be very precise, and you have to ask the opinion of the mentors also while choosing one implementation over another. So so I have mentioned several activities like the logbook, dashboard improvements, so and the consistency in the app, in the dialog section, and shimmer, and few bugs. So yeah, and few features such as dark theme. So I have introduced dark theme during my GSoC. So yeah, you can add this kind of night mode and things. So this is the detailed explanation of the bugs, and there are several layout designs also that I propose to do during my GSoC. So one being the sign in and sign out. So here is the new design that I wanted to do during my GSoC. So and the card selection, I would like to remodel the old one to the new one. So yeah, you can detailedly explain all these kind of stuff to the mentors, and explain of which each kind of work that you are explaining to the mentors, you should explain the advantages of the new implementation and the current implementation disadvantages. And so after you have given what all things you would like to work, it's really important to plan those things. So you have to give timelines for each of the thing which you are planning to do. So here is the what I propose to do. So initially during the community bonding period, I thought of getting familiar with the libraries and the date and all the kind of issues present in the GitHub. So I have spent time with the organization, interacting with mentors, and planning my work during the community bonding period. Then, when from the week one, for each week, I plan to do this work. So, so I took on each section of the app for every week and tried to solve as many issues as I can in that section of the app. You have to also include time for testing because testing is also an important part in working. So I have also included time for testing, and if something goes out of the plan, you should also include time for that. So allotting an extra week would be always beneficial. So this is how you have to give detailed explanation about what you plan and when, how much time does it take, and how you would like to implement. All these kind of things really matter in a proposal. So after that, you can generally speak about your experience and any general questions you would like to have. So I have just shared my open source experience and other kind of stuff which I have done till now. And at last, there are some general questions that I think those questions are important to answer. So I have just uh, assuming that mentors would like to know, I have just answered this. So I've mentioned that I would like to work for 20 to 30 hours per week, and I have no time issues. So I am ready to go beyond that, but 20, 30 issues is what I felt comfortable. And it's really important that you also mention that if you have some exams or you have to take some time out, because mentors are really welcoming for that. Mentors are okay with if you take some time out, because they won't force you to work all the 7 days of a week. So you can mention if you have any obligations, you can mention to them. I also mentioned the mentors that what are my expectations from them. So the major expectations that I wanted to do was reviewing my progress timely and providing me correct inputs. You have to keep it plain and simple, and you have to be as elaborated as possible.
Right. So, in short, we have to explain the whole idea in detail, show that we are familiar with the code base, and set realistic goals while drafting a timeline, right? So, can you please now show us how to clone the project, build it, and use it for ourselves?
So I'll just take you through my organization Readme. So this is the readme of my organization. So this description gives you an understanding of what project does. So you can quickly have a glance on these aspects. Then, so every organization have some contribution guidelines so that you should be aware of before contributing to them. So you can go through the contribution guidelines and all the basic stuff that organization expects you to. So after this, you can generally clone or build that app locally. After you have gone through the README and try to build the app locally, you can set it up and run it on your phone. So coming to my project, so after you have installed it in your Android Studio, you can go on to the app section and you can run it on your mobile. So by this way you'll be getting the app on one device. So for testing purposes, we have an dummy OBD simulator. So generally OBD simulators are electronic devices which are on sale, like for in Amazon you might get some. And but for testing purposes we have a dummy simulator which acts somewhat similar to the original simulator. So you can install this in another mobile for testing purposes. So you can do that by changing the configurations. Like if you set this to the OBD simulator and run it in another device, then the simulator gets installed in the another device. So you generally need two devices for testing, two smartphones. So one consisting of an Android app and another is an OBD simulator. So when these two mobile devices are in the Bluetooth range, the recording starts and you can track your journey. So apart from the OBD simulator, there is another way. Like you can turn on the GPS, and this GPS way needs only one device. So this is the simplest way and effective way, but not the accurate one. So this GPS, you can turn on the GPS and move around or go for a trip, then you'll get the recordings and you can analyze your journey.
Yeah, thank you very much for showing all of that to us. So, before ending, is there any timeline that you suggest for students who are thinking of applying to 52 degrees north, like when should they start contributing or when should they start communicating their ideas with the mentors?
It generally depends upon the student. So few students generally start from February and get the GSoC, but I have started from December 15th. I started looking for organizations around December last week and shortlisted few organizations around December end, and I have started contributing actively from January first week. So I have contributed in January and February, so I have spent around 2.5 months with organizations. So by spending 2.5 months with the organization, you will be able to understand their needs well. After that, at the end of March on April, I have started writing down my proposal. So and got them reviewed by the mentors and finally sent the proposal to the organizations. So it is really important to start early. You'll be getting a good edge and you'll be getting the time to explore things and take your go with your own pace. So I advise you to start from January. That's a good time. And even the proposals, it's better that you send proposals as early as possible so that mentors have a good time to see your proposal. If you give your proposal on the last day, then mentors would not be having the time to review it. So generally it is advised to get your proposal reviewed at least 2 to 3 times so that your it is fine tuned and the mentors also feel that it is good one.
All right, so that was all the questions that we wanted to ask you. Thank you very much for coming, Sai, and showing all of that to us today. We wish you all the best in the future and hope you achieve all your dreams.
Thank you for having me here, Ajay, and I wish all the applicants the very best.
All right, so that was Sai Karthike from 52 Degrees North. If you still have any doubts regarding his project, you can connect with him on LinkedIn or comment your questions down below. So that was it from episode 1 of GSoC Insiders. Thank you for watching and we hope to see you in the next one.